Hello and welcome to Nobody's Watching, episode 24. Today I'm going to teach you how to MEATWAVE. MEATWAVing involves exploiting the short reload times of some blasters and combining that with powerful power cards. So let's look at that in action now. So starting off with the Ultra Amp, I'm just going to run straight forward, hit the shield so that I'm invincible for 6 or 7 seconds and just try and cause as much chaos as I can. As soon as that shield runs out, we want to get killed. No, you didn't mishear me, you want to get killed. That way you respawn back in, and as you can see, the shield is immediately available again. So the idea is that we're just going to keep running forward, hitting that shield, causing chaos, getting ourselves killed, and we rinse and repeat. This way we're going to have the shield active for the vast majority of the game, which it can be very, very frustrating for your opponents. You should all know that when you're playing against other people, somebody running up on you with a shield is the most annoying thing that can happen in the game. You can also use it with any other power card, as you can imagine. This is just the one that I want to exploit. You might have a different power card that you want to exploit. Might be the Dragon power card, could be the Sneak Attack, or it could be one of the damage boosting cards. As long as you're using the right combination of blasters, you'll have a cooldown time of basically 0 seconds other than the death animation, which is what we're ideally aiming for. This technique only really works well in Pinball and in Dragon Power mode. And in Pinball, it only really works well if you're playing with teammates, because you have to rely on your teammates to pick up the tokens and do the actual winning part. We're not trying to win, we're just trying to cause our opponents to lose. And ideally, we won't pick up any tokens at all, except maybe right at the end of the game. Perfect timing, 8 tokens there, so we're going to pick those up and now we have to try and survive, which is obviously the opposite of what we've been doing for the rest of this game. We're going to stay on our side of the battlefield and we're going to make use of the Ultra Amp's very high movement speed and the shield card. Unfortunately, we get stunned by a Stratahawk and we do die, but as you can see, we're available to come straight back in and we can run in and pick those tokens up again and now just head back to our base. It doesn't matter if we have to rinse and repeat this a few times, we're never gonna be at a point where we're stuck with all our blasters on cooldown, so we'll always be there to apply some pressure and try and win this game. But like I said, ideally you want your teammates to win the game for you so that you can concentrate on MEATWAVing. I'm gonna go over the principles of that in just a moment. Even though this technique is designed for pinball and for playing with teammates, you can take the general principles and adapt them and use it in 3v3. Let's break down the mechanics of this loadout. The idea here is that we're only ever going to use the blaster in our first blaster spot. The second and third blaster spots are just there to make the mechanics work. We're never actually going to load in with those blasters, so it really doesn't matter what power card you stick on them. They do, however, need to be leveled up to level 14 to unlock the third Nerf powers. The first one is the Ultra 5. This is a common blaster and the third Nerf power gives all your blasters a 30% reduction in cooldown time. The second blaster is the Elite 2.0 Commander, which its third Nerf power gives you a 25% reduction in cooldown time. So we're applying an overall 55% reduction to cooldown time. So if you look at the blaster stats, you can see the respawn delay in the bottom left corner of 15 seconds. That quickly gets reduced to less than the time spent on the death animation, so it's always available. We add in the Super Shield card and we gain some invincibility for an amount of time. There's a few blasters with a short enough respawn delay that it works with this technique. There's the Ultra Amp, which ultimately I end up using because it's got a very fast movement speed and a slightly bigger clip. It also does a bit of bonus damage when you're shooting people in the back, which is nice. You don't have to use that, let's have a look at some of the other options available to us. There's the pretty hard hitting Mega Twin Shock. That has a natural cooldown time of only 18 seconds, so it does work. However, the first 2 Nerf powers don't lend itself to this technique, so it's not worth using in my opinion, and the third Nerf power is nothing to write home about. There's the Elite 2.0 Phoenix, which has a cooldown time of 18 seconds. The first 2 Nerf powers do lend itself to this technique. However, the third Nerf power, which turns you invisible for 7 seconds after respawning, actively hinders this technique, so I wouldn't use that at level 14 or above. We've got the Mega Double Breach, which is fairly hard hitting and has a decent amount of knockback. However, only the first nerf power is really worth using in this technique. The other two just aren't much, and the third one has no effect basically. An interesting choice that I've not tried because I don't have it leveled up is the Nail Biter. Its first nerf power lends itself really well, and I think this might pair very well with the sneak attack power card, which enables you to just teleport straight to the enemies. I've not been able to test this out, but if you've got it leveled up, give it a go. The second and third nerf power don't hinder this technique in any way, but they're not particularly decent either. There's two more blasters from the Elite 2.0 line that would work well with the sneak attack. There's the Shockwave, which third nerf power basically turns you into a nerf nade when you die, so you can teleport forward, get yourself killed, and then just explode. But as you can see, the first two nerf powers do nothing to help you. And the other blaster from the Elite 2.0 line that works well with this technique is the Warden. This has the exact same nerf nade power in third place, but its first two nerf powers are a little bit better than the Shockwaves. It has, however, got a smaller clip size. There's a couple of other options as well. So there's the Bulldog from the Mega line. This has bonus movement speed and bonus damage after it respawns if you've got all three nerf powers, which makes for an interesting choice. It does, however, only have a clip size of 3. There's the N-Strike Elite Shell Strike, which is basically a little shotgun pistol. The only thing that we're really interested in here is its faster reload time. The others aren't going to do much, especially if you're using the shield. A blaster that might see a bit more play with this technique is the Dragon Power Fire Shot. I don't have it leveled up, but I see a lot of people playing with this blaster anyway. It's got a really cool first nerf power which makes all of its darts explode like a nerf nade. The other two nerf powers, unfortunately, not that great. You could also use the Dino Strike Stego Smash, but I hate that blaster, so we're not even going to look at it. If you want to try it, go ahead. So that's the basic principle, fairly straightforward. You take blasters with a cooldown time below 20 seconds, you reduce that cooldown time to instant, pick the power card that you want, and off you go. I'm playing with two new friends in this match, Sofa King Ahsom, and yes, I said that right, and Super Dragon 5. So I'm just going to MEATWAVE and I'm going to rely on those two to collect all the tokens and actually win the match. This is a completely different style of gameplay, where your usual positional tactics and everything go completely out the window and you just behave like a mindless bot, just running into death. We don't mind about taking damage, we don't mind about running into environmental hazards, don't mind about running into the hole, it doesn't matter because we'll always respawn and we'll always have that shield card active when we do. The only thing that you really need to be mindful of, apart from doing as much damage as possible, is trying not to pick up any tokens, because you're going to be running to your opponent's side of the battlefield most of the time. You don't want to be picking up tokens and dropping them off on their side, because that just makes it harder for your teammates, who are then going to have to leave their position, fight their way forward, pick those tokens up, and then come fight the way back again. You don't want to hinder them like that, so it does happen where sometimes running around you accidentally pick some up, so I picked a couple up there, realised what I'd done and moved away so we didn't collect the rest. And I'm going to just try and hold back a little bit and hopefully get taken out on my side of the battlefield. That way it helps my teammates out. I noticed that Sofa King has brought a Dreadbolt into the battle, which is great fun, but also the zombies are also going to be at risk of picking up the tokens and charging them to the opponent's side. So both Super Dragon and Sofa King Ahsom have got a little bit of the work cut out for them with me behaving like this. But you know, early days, I'm still learning this technique, and most importantly, I'm having an awful lot of fun with it. It's such a stupid, mindless way to play. It's great because obviously the deaths that you suffer in Pinball do not matter at all. If you try to do this in 3v3, you just piss off your teammates because you're making their lives a lot harder. However, you can still use the Ultra 5 and the Commander RD6 in 3v3 to heavily reduce the cooldown of your primary blaster. And if you're happy to just kind of sit and wait for the cooldown time to expire once that you do get tagged, then you can use it viably. I've checked it out with a few different blasters. You don't have to wait longer than I think 5 seconds at most, and that's for things like the Relics, which is pretty cool. So you can actually apply this to the brain saw or the ghoul grinder, stick the sneak attack card on it, teleport forward, do the melee damage, but you will have to wait about 4 or 5 seconds before you respawn back in. However, completely viable way to play. I think if you're fairly new to the game, or if you're free to play and you've only really got that one decent blaster, and then you spend a lot of your time just like pumping resources into not great blasters just so you can have a loadout, you might want to consider this technique. Both the Ultra 5 and the Elite 2.0 Commander are common blasters, which means they're very easy to get hold of, and it also means that they're very cheap to level up. It's easy to get XP for them, and the amount of coins it costs is a lot lower than it is for your rare blasters or your prismatic blasters or your legendary blasters. I've not been able to figure out the exact cost of leveling both of them up to level 14, but the third nerf power to unlock is only 4,500 coins, which is basically nothing. That's nearly half the cost of the third nerf power for a prismatic blaster, which is 7,500 coins. So it's fairly reasonable to assume that the full cost of leveling it up is going to be around half of that of leveling up a prismatic blaster. So if you're short on resources, taking a few weeks to dedicate your coins to leveling up the Ultra 5 and or the Commander isn't a bad idea, because once you've unlocked that, you can apply that to any blaster then. And there's a significant upside to being able to repeatedly load in with your best blaster and a fresh shield, and that's the presence of the Relics. The Relics can completely dominate games, especially if you don't have one and you don't have an effective way to counter it. One of the easiest ways to counter the Relics is to have an active shield so that they can't actually do any damage to you, and then while you're fighting, as long as you're not getting stunned, you stand half a chance. So with this, if your shield runs out and the Relics kills you, you can just spawn straight back in and hit the shield again. We do need to test this out against some Relics, so let's hope that we get some encounters during this video. The other way it benefits fighting against a Relics is you can run up front with the shield and be in their face, which should hopefully give your teammates the ability to stand at a distance and pick them off safely. Okay, let's look at another game, and let's go ahead and we're going to MEATWAVE. MEATWAVE! It's a stupid style of play that demands a bit of silliness. Okay, so we're using the speed boost of the Ultra Amp, running forward, hitting that shield, and now we're stopping the enemies dead in their own tunnel. See how they're struggling to get past me? Their forward person has now got the shield, so I'm just going to run back to the next guy, get taken out. We're going to come straight back in, and we've already got that shield active, so just keep pushing forward relentlessly, making sure that we hit that shield so that we're not dying. But if we do die, it doesn't matter, we'll just spawn back in. Right, so we've taken down that first wave. They're coming in for another one. Killed me again as soon as the shield went down. Not to worry, shield goes back up and forward we go. The Ultra Amp has got a great ability where when it shoots people in the back, it does bonus damage. And because we tend to be charging forward, we do get quite a few opportunities to shoot people in the back. A smarter opponent isn't going to focus all their fire on somebody with the shield up. They're going to run past you. So if they do that, turn around, smack them in the back. That's what they deserve. And we seem to be taking damage even though the shield hadn't expired there, so bit of lag, I assume. It's irrelevant. We're playing Pinball where the deaths don't matter. We'll try and take down this Rex Rampage and get rid of his little damage aura, which we've done successfully. Keep pushing forward. The shield has gone down, so we want to die now. I have considered just jumping into the hole as well, but if I'm taking damage, I'm doing my job of MEATWAVing. Try and get in this guy's face, and what I want him to do is turn around and focus his fire on me and leave my teammates alone. And if I annoy them enough, I'm hoping that they will start to focus on me. I don't know if these are just bots we're playing, I assume there are, but if we're playing against human opponents, I imagine this is an extremely irritating strategy that I'm implementing here. And to be fair, meat waving is designed to be annoying. It's designed to get in your opponent's heads. It's designed to piss them off. Right, okay, so my teammates have dropped all those tokens. I've picked them up, so not ideal, so I need to try and survive now. I've not got the shield active, but what I have got is the extremely fast movement speed of the Ultra Amp. And the Ultra Amp's third ability actually gives you, I think it's a 10% speed boost to all blasters. Obviously, it doesn't apply. It doesn't matter about the others in this mode. Okay, so we've got Racing Mechelen, Funkazan, hopefully I said that right, and myself. I've switched to the sneak attack, and there is a Relics on the other side of the battlefield, so we'll see how we get on. Obviously, we've not got that shield to test it out, but we're going to try just immediately teleporting to the other side. So straight away, we're getting in people's faces. As we can see, there is an active Dreadbolt on the battlefield, so we're going to end up with a lot of zombies around, but that shouldn't matter to us because we're just going to teleport straight to the enemy. So anticipating dying a lot more doing this. Accidentally teleported, that's not great. That's going to interrupt the flow of the meat wave. I really wanted to maximise the amount of time I was spending shooting at the opponents, so that didn't help. But as you can see, we've now got to the point where the opponents are already spawning in intermittently, so I'm just going to camp at the spawn point. Why not? When they do spawn in, hopefully they'll turn and focus the fire on me, not on the zombies, not on my teammates, because we're relying on the teammates. Speaking of teammates, if you've played any team games with me in the last 3 or 4 days, you've probably seen me doing this and thought, what the hell's Clown Baby doing? Like, does he just give his iPad to like a small child or something? No, I've not given my iPad to a small child. I'm just being silly. And that sneak attack fails because there was nobody spawned in when I hit it, presumably. So I'm going to have to run up forward the old-fashioned way, get back to that spawn killing. As you can see, the opposing Relics has been a 0 factor in this game so far. Never mind, we'll get other opportunities. I've switched back to the shield now, so I'm going to resume my standard meat waving tactic. Once again, we've got a Relics on the other side of the battlefield. Let's hope we get into it with the Relics. So the enemy wave's already under the cosh, and as you can see, they very, very quickly get destroyed. We'll just wait here for them to spawn back in. They do have a slight, I think it's like 1 second of immunity when they spawn back in, but it doesn't matter. If they kill us, great, or just respawn and we'll come back again. The great thing about meat waving is it turns the whole concept of this game on its head. Generally when we play to survive and we play to win. Meat waving, it actively helps you if your opponents kill you. So if your opponents can't negatively impact your gameplay by killing you, what the hell can they do? Not a lot. Literally the only downside I see to this way of playing is that you can't really be responsible for collecting the tokens, so you can't take it on your shoulders to make sure that your team wins. You do have to rely on your opponent, on your teammates to do that for you. If you're picking up the tokens, you want to survive. If you want to survive, you're not meat waving. So we're going to keep continually meat waving, hopefully avoiding the tokens, unless we get to the point where you can pick up all 10 of them and just run. So there's the Relics, bit late in the match, but we hit the shield and we're just shooting them in the back now. So he's turned around, focused on me, and then my teammate with the Dreadbolt taking out the Relics. So we get to see it working actively there. That's great. Once again, we've got a match with an opposing Relics, so we're going to hope that the Relics spawns in and we get into them. I really just want to see how this fares up against the Relics. Ideally, we'll bump into some, like, you know, known players, some friends on the opposing side of the battlefield, and then we can really put this thing to the test. So we've bumped into the Relics, but the shield is down, so obviously we're going to die. Doesn't matter, we're going to spawn back in, we're going to beeline for that Relics, and when we get close by, shields are going to go up. It looks like the Relics has already been taken down, so never mind, we'll just do our best to cause chaos, and our opponents, for some reason, hanging out behind their own base, so they've really been pushed back into a corner here. I think the meat wave tactics is definitely helping. They're very much under the cosh and struggling to organise themselves. So I'm not sure if we can take the win before that Relics spawns back in. Obviously that's the name of the game, but I'm not winning the game. I'm just trying to kill people. And most importantly, I'm trying to draw all the fire. So this is a form of tanking. It's just not your usual form of tanking. Generally when you're tanking, you're trying to survive. and absorb the hits. This time I'm absorbing the hits but dying. Okay, down goes the Revonic, so just took it out straight there. It wasn't firing at me though, it was firing at somebody else, but no matter, Revonix dies. Our shield's down, so we want to get taken out, so again just run in, trying to turn and make the opponents focus on us, which they do. Thanks very much, you've just given me my shield back, really appreciate it. So I've only been MEATWAVing since Thursday, so still early days yet, but at some point I'm going to have to figure out how the hell you counter this strategy, because if it does catch on, I'm going to encounter people doing it to me, and I absolutely hate coming up against people with shields, especially people with shields that are just charging at you. It makes holding your position really difficult, often forces you to fall back to a less favourable position, and that's what we want to do to the opponents. We want to stop them from having a coordinated positional advantage over the battlefield. I've decided to up the silliness just a little bit more, and this time I'm a shark. I'm a clown baby shark, but no, I'm not going to sing the song. Wow, okay, did you see the opponents there? We've got SolidSnake and Relics. This is going to be a super difficult game. Relics has consistently been one of the top players in the game. SolidSnake also always at the top of the leaderboard. So you can see we're going up against SolidSnake there with the Boomdozer. Did a lot of damage before SolidSnake takes us out, but we're going straight back in. We're going to run forward. We're going to hit that shield and we're going to try and take our opponent out. Now we are going to face opposing Revonixes, which is something I wanted to try. So you can see the stun that's happening there from the Revonix. And I'm sure SolidSnake very confused there, thinking, didn't I just take that shielded little guy out? And he's straight back here. Relics gets the kill there, doesn't matter because we've got the shield back up. So running forward, right, we've got a Dreadbolt. We want to take out the Dreadbolt. We do not want zombies all over the place. Otherwise, I'm going to spend half my time MEATWAVing zombies. So SolidSnake gets the kill on me again. Doesn't matter, like I say, we want to die. As long as we're disrupting the opponents and making it difficult for them to achieve their goals, then I'm achieving mine. Okay, so here is Relics with his Revonix. We've got the shield active, and now we're just focusing and trying to shoot him in the back, and boom, down goes Relics, down goes the Revonix. So, MEATWAVing being successful. SolidSnake again getting the kill on me. Sooner or later I'm going to bump into my own zombie, aren't I? It's inevitable. Yeah, opponents are pressing the centre of the battlefield, so we want to try and disrupt them and ruin their positional advantage if we can. So again, going up against Relics, trying to take out this Dreadbolt. I'm taking a lot of damage, but that's inevitable. I'm sending an Ultra Amp against a Dreadbolt. You know, that is a mismatched one-on-one. Thankfully, though, it doesn't matter if we die, as long as we get to keep coming back with the shield. So he's healed himself up there after nearly dying, and I get taken out by my own zombie. Knew it was going to happen. So it seems pretty even Stevens at the moment. It's 7-5, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter. What matters is control over the battlefield. Obviously, I'm not playing for my own positional advantage. I'm playing entirely to try and keep the opponents under the cosh, keep them stressed out, keep them distracted, so that hopefully my teammates can pick up the remaining tokens and get the win. Hard to do when you've got Revonixes and Dreadbolts running all over the place, and two of the best players in the game. SolidSnake once again coming back in with a Boomdozer. Let's run forward, let's charge him, let's get this shield up, and boom, let's see if we can take him out. So you can see he's focusing on me now. Down he goes, and the countdown's on. We've actually got the tokens. Relics taking me out with that Revonix. I think if that Revonix is up, we're going to struggle. I need to go and try and take that down. Now the opponents have got it, so really under the cosh now. Need to disrupt them, need to try and take one of them out before this time runs out. Oh, and Relics putting up the shield. Absolutely classic play there. With that shield up, there's nothing that we can do to take Relics out. Thankfully, one of the other token carriers drops it, so the game is not over yet. So let's keep MEATWAVing and see if we can get Relics down. 3 seconds on the shield. It's not boding well because Relics is at full health. Down goes my shield, down goes myself, and the timer runs out. So take the defeat there, but a massive GG to Relics and to SolidSnake. Really well played there. Good game. I just want to show you what this strategy looks like if you're using the Revonix instead of one of those fast cooldown blasters. I'm doing this inside of Dragon Power mode. If you're playing as a human in Dragon Power mode, you're going to want the Revonix up all the time or as much as possible. for that stun ability. Obviously that isn't possible, the Relics has something like a 55-second cooldown window. Taking down the dragon is extremely difficult, but a Relics gives you half a chance to do it. The more that you can keep that critical shot stun on them, the better, especially if you've got a load of teammates around you. Playing against the dragon in Dragon Power mode, you're lucky to get, like, I don't know, 3-4 wins in the entire event over the dragon. Most of your wins come when you are the dragon. And if you load in as the dragon, you want to load in with the Relics as well. If you do that as the dragon, you shouldn't die at all, unless you either get yeeted off the battlefield by some heavy knockback or you accidentally fall into the lava. That's the only time you should be dying with the Relics as the dragon. So you can see the dragon right on the edge there. Just needs somebody with some knockback to come along and knock them into that lava. Unfortunately not happening, but down goes the dragon anyway. I am hoping that this dragon actually does kill me, just so we can see how long it takes the Relics to respawn. I've never actually used both of these blasters with the Relics before. This is the first time trying that out, so you're finding out at the same time that I'm finding out. Okay, so we've got the stun on, and you see how the dragon is stunned right on the edge. So all you need is a teammate to come in and blast them with something heavy enough to knock them into the lava. Unfortunately, teammates are bots. So did you see that? The Relics took, what, 4 seconds, 5 seconds to count down? Let's have a look at it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, respawned in under 5 seconds. Right, please, for the love of God, do not all start just using the Relics with these two things and just permanently using the Relics. If you start doing that, I'm going to quit the game. Don't. This game's over, we've lost. Had 2 opportunities to take the dragon out using the environmental hazards, and it didn't happen. Right, we're going to try sneak attacking with the brain saw. My brain saw is only level 11, so I wouldn't normally play with this. It's just not strong enough. It's not going to be strong enough to play at this level, but this will just give you an idea of what it's like. So teleport is straightforward there. As you can see, one of the reasons I don't like using the brain saw is it's not fast enough. So we've got a couple of second cooldown there. That's a bit longer than I'd like, really, but if you're a brain saw player or you're a ghoul grinder player, you might find that spawn delay acceptable. I'd find that spawn delay far more acceptable if it was reloading in with a Relics. But yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep MEATWAVing properly. Hopefully by this point in the video, you've all had some ideas yourself of how to exploit this particular mechanic. So leave me a comment, tell me what you would try it with. If you want to see me try it with something, let me know. Only thing is, if it's a blaster that I've not got unlocked or I've not got leveled up, unfortunately it's not going to happen. I've not got many coins at the moment at all, and the coins that I do have I'm saving to use on the Rex Rampage. Level 11 brain saw so far underwhelming as expected. I would absolutely love to try this with a level 14 ghoul grinder. My ghoul grinder I think is like level 8 or something, so I can't really give that a go. It's just not viable. I think the 3 or 4 second respawn time with the brain saw is actually meaning that I'm spending as much time off the battlefield as I am on the battlefield. This really doesn't feel that efficient way to do this. And then you've got that other problem that I just killed the token carrier, then I've got all the tokens, want to avoid the tokens. So yeah, I'm actually spending quite a lot of time just sat waiting to respawn. Doesn't help that my brain saw is far too underpowered. And as you can see now we're losing. I am actually playing with bots on my team, so I did expect to lose this match, seeing as how I wasn't going to pick the tokens up myself, and I don't expect the bots to do anything. Okay, we're in with Mr. Croat now. Now, Mr. Croat I can depend on to collect the tokens and to get the win. He's probably going to be very confused by my complete lack of regard for my own survivability, and probably also by my blaster choices. But nevertheless, let's MEATWAVE. MEATWAVE! MEATWAVing, where the strategy's made up and the deaths don't matter. We're all over the opponents, their Relics has already gone down, and they're just in disarray. So, going to keep going forward, and you can see Croat's already in the middle, is collecting the tokens. I keep accidentally picking tokens up. That is not ideal. It just means that it's going to take us longer to win the match. But we're already at the point where the opponents are spawning in dribs and drabs, and when they do spawn in, there's a good chance there'll be a clown baby there waiting for them. I'm also dressed as a gold dragon now, so no more clown baby shark. Frustratingly, I've not been killed yet, but I am getting some kills. So down goes 2 more opponents, and thank you, the Rivonix takes me out. So let's get ourselves back in the game, shielded up, and let's go fight that Rivonix. Oh, it's already dead. Can't fight the Rivonix, let's fight the double punch. See, carefully there, backing away from the tokens, trying to make sure that we don't pick them up. Get taken out, so that'll give us a great opportunity to spawn back in and do the exact same thing. I have been quite tempted to try this with the Dragon Power card as well. The Dragon Power card's like really quite good. Mine's quite low level, unfortunately. I never seem to find it in packs or anything. For me, it's the rarest power card in the game. Don't know if that's true for everybody else, but yeah, I'd love to level it up a bit further. I think mine's at level 3. So jumping into the water there, gonna spawn back in. Countdown's already on, so all we want to do is play Distraction, which we do successfully. We get yeeted into the air by that Stego Smash, which, as I've said earlier, has got a cooldown that would work with this strategy. However, I hate the blaster and everyone who uses it. It's just not good. What's the point of knocking people into the air if it's not going to do heavy damage or send them flying backwards? Right, we've been loaded into 3v3 here, didn't expect this. Obviously, this setup is terrible for 3v3, so I'm going to try and play a bit more conservatively and survive. The range on the Ultra Amp's pretty mid, especially when compared to the Ultra 2, which is the blaster that's most similar to. However, we can still use it for sniping. We managed to hit somebody in the back, which is great, but as you can see, can't hit people where I normally could, so very limited here. Relying mostly on my teammates, but we've loaded in with Zonda now as well as Croat, so there's no bots on our side of the battlefield, so run forward, make use of that shield, and let's be a bit brave. At this point, 6-2, even if I do get killed, it's not going to make a difference. We should still win comfortably. So just moving forward a bit, and hopefully the shield will cool down and I'll get a second use out of it. Nope, we get taken out. But like I said, doesn't matter. So if we're going to be stuck in 3v3, which we are, we should have won by now. If you've noticed, we're at 11 kills. Right, it appears that this game is broken. Yeah, people spawning back in, so we're at 12 kills to 3. Yeah, okay, this is complete madness. Right, let's just move to the next game. So the game crashed out there. We all loaded back in with rejoined. Seeing as I was still in 3v3, I decided to have a look at using this setup just to use one blaster for the entire time. So I've gone with a Rivonix. Please forgive me, this is not something I encourage, but it's good to try out, isn't it? And we've got the shield for that Rivonix. Now I feel like having the Rivonix and the shield means that I'm not going to be MEATWAVing, I'm not going to be dying. Game's lagging all over the place at the moment, really struggling to aim properly, struggling to move around, seems to be getting a bit better, so push over to the other side of the battlefield and then just using that Rivonix to completely dominate the opponent. So you can see the shield's already respawned, so we can put that up if we need it. Hopefully we won't need it though. So activate the shield. Our opponent's got the shield as well, so just fall back a little bit and keep our opponents under the cosh, take them out as they're spawning in. Get taken out by that sneak attack Stego Smash. Screw your Stego Smash. So let's have a look. Yeah, 5 seconds at most and we're back in with the Rivonix. Doesn't matter, get the victory. So I can see this setup working in 3v3. I'd be a bit hesitant to do it if I just had 2 bots on the on my side of the battlefield, because I'd be worried about not spawning back in and just leaving my bots to MEATWAVE themselves to death, which is what bots do anyway. And I feel like that this particular strategy will probably be very good for siege mode. Just have 2 blasters that you're never going to use and just load in with your Rivonix with the shield, and then you can always have the Rivonix up. When you're in siege mode and you're against someone with a Rivonix, that's the time where you're struggling the most. Likewise, when you've got your Rivonix up, that's the time that you're dominating the most. So next time siege mode rolls around, I'm going to give that a try. Winning these games easily. I don't particularly want to play 3v3 at the moment, but seeing as how we are, I'm going to be as aggressive as possible. I feel like these games should be basically impossible for us to lose with this team, and with this particular setup. So let's just go nuts with it and have some fun. Take Santa out there, bar humbug. I think Santa actually survives and takes me down. So the shield on the Santa doing its job. So just going to wait a couple of seconds. Revonitz has cooled down, so going to go back in and just once again charge forward. We've got that manual fire mode on, obviously. This arena is really good for the Revonitz because there's loads and loads of things to bounce the darts off. So you can be firing most of the time and generally you're going to be hitting somebody. So yeah, look how quickly we just take them out there. And the shield doing its job. So even though I got taken out initially, I did MEATWAVE a little bit and it was fine. I'm not showing the rest of those 3v3 matches because they're incredibly repetitive. And let's be honest, this video has gone on long enough.
This game has gone on long enough. So
enjoy one last game of pinball before the video ends. I've been Clown Baby, this has been How to MEATWAVE. Thank you very much for watching another episode of Nobody's Watching. I will see you soon. Clown Baby loaded up my phone.